Quantum jumping comes from the understanding that beyond the 3D physical reality that we are aware of, there is a field of energy called the quantum field. Within this field of energy is all potential and possibility. My name's Kalia, and in this podcast, I'm going to show you how you can jump into the highest version of yourself, the aspect of you that already has what you want in your life. Neville Goddard tells us creation is finished. All realities already exist. So, in order to have the reality that you desire, you simply need to align with that reality, step into it, allow yourself to merge with it, and bring it back to the 3D world. This concept can seem complex, but I am going to do a deeper dive into the concept of quantum jumping so that you can make sense of it and apply it to your life. Imagine, if you will, the most ideal version of yourself. You are confident, successful, wealthy on all levels, embodying radiant health and vitality. You have beautiful, rich, nourishing relationships with others. You live in a state of love and abundance. You radiate out into the field of creation thoughts of love, kindness, beauty, compassion, positive expectation, faith, and trust that everything is working out for you. Everything is going your way. Life is unfolding in the most amazing way. You are so blessed. Since this version of yourself is conceived in imagination, it exists in the field of all possibility. This field is in a different dimension of reality. Yet this potential version of yourself is available to you now. Any idea that you have in your imagination is a seed, and that seed will either sprout and grow or wither and die, depending solely upon the energy you give it. If you desire that your idea or concept of yourself sprout and grow, you must nurture and feed it. Give it your attention and energy. Quantum jumping is a way to immediately step into the version of you who is already at your full potential. The version you can see and imagine in your mind. In your imagination, you hold that clear image of your highest version of yourself, and you make the conscious decision to step or jump into this version of yourself. You are inviting this version that already exists in the quantum field, the field of all potential and possibility, to embody you and you it. You become one with this version of yourself. And once you do this process, you acknowledge that you are now this highest version of yourself. You now have this level of confidence, health, wealth, love, faith, trust, and all of those amazing qualities your highest concept of yourself possesses. And you begin to live your life through the eyes and the awareness of this highest concept of self. Your old self must now begin to fall away. You cannot live from that level of being anymore. And anything that is incongruent with this new concept of yourself must go. You must let it go. It's no longer a part of who you are. Because you're currently in the 3D physical reality, there is the time between when the seed of the new reality is planted and it grows to full bloom. You recognize that you are in this process, and so you nurture and nourish the seed of your highest self concept. You may wonder, if I have already merged with this highest concept of myself, would I not already be in full bloom? That aspect within you is in full bloom, but the integration process of allowing this aspect to fully occupy your body and your reality is but a seed. It is important to trust the process of bringing your highest self concept from the quantum field into 3D physical reality. This is the field of all manifestation. You are pulling an already existing idea of yourself from the field and giving it life in the 3D. Some will say that this version of you already exists in a parallel reality, and you are abandoning your current reality for the parallel one. But it really doesn't matter. It's still coming from your imagination. That is, pulling a parallel version of yourself from the field and embodying it. It may feel a bit like acting at first. It may feel like putting on a suit of clothing that's so beautiful and luxurious, and yet in a style that you're not yet used to. As you wear the suit, you notice how nice you feel in it. You feel more confident just wearing it. You feel rich, sophisticated, and you sense that people are admiring how you look in this beautiful suit. Your highest concept of yourself is the suit. You put it on and you begin to feel differently, more confident, worthy, capable, wealthy, loving, and loved. That aspect of you who didn't feel this way begins to fall away into the background. You may see glimpses. At times, it may even try to pull you back to what is familiar, safe, known. Yet the very act of quantum jumping into a new reality is a testament to a strong desire to leave behind that safe, familiar, and known reality so that you can have a much more fulfilling reality. Playing it safe is what the old you did, but then you were stuck in the same paradigm. You continued to create the same thing over and over. It may have felt that you were spinning your wheels, and suddenly you're lifted up from the old and placed into the new. I like to look at quantum jumping as a symbolic process. In my hypnotherapy sessions, the processes I take people through are quite often symbolic and ritualistic, because symbolism and ritualism is powerful in the act of creation. For example, when I do a psychic or energy cord cutting in my hypnosis sessions to cut the energetic ties to someone, I take them through a symbolic process. We do a ritual of cutting the cord, calling back one's soul energy from that relationship, canceling contracts and agreements, and releasing that person to his or her own journey of life. When my clients come out of their session, they feel the shift. They know deep down something powerful has happened. They experienced it on the quantum level. We were working on the level of imagination and visualization, and yet it was very real. Just as dreams can feel very real when you're in them. You're not aware that there's another reality when you're dreaming until you awaken from the dream. And all your dreams are produced from the level of your imagination. Within your imagination are all those images, feelings, and experiences you call dreams. And this is clearly evidence of how powerful your imagination is. It's creating entirely different worlds. And yet the dream world at night, when you sleep, is so often your imagination unchecked, creating stories and images from unresolved feelings or issues that are lying in the subconscious mind. So imagine what you can create when you use your imagination consciously with direction and determination. You can see the reality you desire in the realm of imagination and then begin to embody that reality. Although it may not become real in the 3D physical reality right away, it is in process. When you align with it, live from it, believe it, and embody it, life organizes itself to create it in the physical. Everything that exists in 3D physical reality began as an idea in the imagination. Ideas are seeds. They bear fruit when acted upon and nurtured along. Every idea also comes from the quantum field. Have you ever heard how two people who don't know each other, who live on opposite ends of the earth, have the same idea at the same time and follow through with the idea, only to find it wasn't actually their idea? They were pulling the idea from the quantum field. It is also said, if you have an idea and don't act on it, somebody else will. So within that quantum field is not only every idea there ever was or ever will be, that will be downloaded into the human mind when the time is right, but every possible version of you. So what version of you do you want to embody? You get to choose. Do you think it's not possible for you to make the leap? Because quantum jumping is really a leap in consciousness. It is downloading into your awareness a version of yourself that sees life and reality from a different perspective. Once I saw myself as a victim, and I attracted perpetrators. From the perspective I was living from, I could not get off the victim-perpetrator cycle of abuse. But once I had a leap in consciousness and raised up to a higher level of awareness, I could see that I was not a victim, but the creator of my reality. And I could create something completely different. And so I stopped looking at life through the lens of a victim. I stopped seeing people who hurt me as the villain of my story. I started taking charge of my life in a different way. I let go of the old stories and ways of being in the world. My life began to shift and shift again and again. And not only was I no longer a victim of people in my life, but of the circumstances of my life. I was also the creator of my circumstances. I had to develop a different relationship to the circumstances. A flat tire is a flat tire, not the universe trying to flatten me. It may be an opportunity to look at something deeper or closer or differently. Eventually, I had to let go of specializing in the field of narcissistic abuse because it no longer fit who I had become. Although I still work with clients to overcome toxic relationships and toxic relationship patterns, I do this in a different way now. And I'm not producing content on narcissism anymore. Why? Because my consistent focus on narcissism was continuing to draw into my reality more narcissists. When you work online, as I have for the past 20 years, you absolutely need to produce content on the topic that you work in so people can find you. So you end up living, eating, and breathing the content that you're producing always thinking about ideas, always writing, podcasting, posting, and producing videos on the content. Narcissistic abuse permeated my reality. It was in my field. With my own quantum jumping, I found my way to the world of manifestation. It was fun, exciting, and promised a much more fulfilling and satisfying life. If I was going to produce content, it would be with something that not only helped my audience grow, but helped me to continue to grow in new and exciting ways. I made a quantum leap in consciousness. And when we do this, the old way of living just doesn't work for us anymore. We may find ourselves leaving relationships, or our relationships leave us. We may lose or leave our jobs. We may move or relocate to a new area. We simply begin to live from a higher version of ourselves. Many people see quantum jumping as a process that is done several times a week, not just a one and done. It's often viewed as a practice that is done in a state of meditation or hypnosis. One goes into the state of deep relaxation, where the body is in a state of deep rest or sleep, but they are still conscious. They're in an expanded state of awareness. When in this state, they imagine the aspect of themselves in a parallel reality or in the quantum field of all potentiality, and they focus on the detail of the character and qualities this alternative version of themselves possesses. They observe this aspect in detail until they're very clear about who this version is. And then they jump into this reality embodying this aspect of themselves. Joe Dispenza does a deep meditation process that's very similar to the process of quantum jumping, where he reports that many people have complete reality shifts in their meditation to where they're no longer the same person when they come out. He has seen spontaneous healings where one goes into the meditation with cancer and comes out cancer-free. His explanation is that they are no longer the same person who had cancer. They've completely shifted realities. I find this process fascinating because we are now truly tapping into our unlimited potential as human beings. We really do have the power to create our reality, but there's definitely a learning curve for most people. You need to dedicate yourself to the practice of understanding the world beyond 3D physical reality. We need to understand that, like oxygen, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. I'm also fascinated by near-death experiences and have studied hundreds of cases. And it's surprising how many people who have been pronounced clinically dead have profound otherworldly experiences beyond what we think of as death. And they come back to tell us about it. One thing I hear over and over from those who have died and returned is our thoughts create our reality. We need to be masters of our thoughts. Catherine Ponder, author of The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, talks about the law of radiation and attraction. She puts emphasis on what we radiate out into the world in terms of energy, thoughts, and actions, directly influencing what we attract back into our lives. We can no longer ignore the fact that what we put out in thought is directly responsible for what we draw into our reality. So let us learn to be masters of our mind and gardeners of our thoughts. If you would like to experience a quantum jumping session with me, I will put a link in the description below, or you can go to my website, kalialaroche.com, and go to the hypnotherapy link. You may also join my Wealth Magnet Method course and community to get started on your wealth manifestation journey right now. So thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next podcast. Have a great day.